This is FanSpeak, a weekly live show where the fans of comics and its community are our guests. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to FanSpeak. Today, we got some interesting things to talk about. You know that over here on this show, we like to talk about the breadth of nerddom, not just isolate ourselves down to comic books. So we do have a few things from different categories, and hopefully maybe you guys have some information to share with us that we could talk about as well. But very happy to have you. Definitely check out our links down below, particularly the Twitter. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to have your opinions. If you want to try out the Drone and Quarter Ultimate Edition, which this week we're doing Cyberpunk, just hit me up on the Twitter, or of course you can hit up Booster or Thundero as well, and they'll help you out. And you want to try your hand at being an artist, go ahead and do it. It can happen for you. It can happen for you because our wee little Booster, the amazing MS Painter that he is, has his own cover.
I do. It happened for me. I want to thank my parents for believing in me. I want to thank Chester for these opportunities. I want to thank Jesus. I want to thank Obama.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. We're just over 50% now. I want to keep trucking. I want more backers. Remember, if you pledge $100, I will send you feet pics.
Ooh, and I have to say, Booster, I really appreciate being in the same sentence with Jeebus and the Obama. That's pretty cool.
Jesus and Obama. That's high praise.
High praise, indeed.
Yeah.
But it is pretty cool that you're doing it. I think it's hilarious. And there's a few other projects I wish you would do.
There are some people that just do not get it. It's quite funny.
No, I guess probably not. Yeah.
So it's an intentionally shitty cover? What is it? What are you, retarded?
Yeah.
I kind of am, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So what? You intentionally made it look bad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not totally intentionally. It's the best I can do.
Aw. But I think it's another thing I think is hilarious. You actually have a cover coming out before so many people who are trying to get stuff out. You actually beat so many people to the punch. I think it's hilarious.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Oh, we have a Niobe in there.
We do, and we have a rabbit too. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Oh my god.
Hey, Larry, what's up, man?
Blue.
Well, I hear Booster has.
Oh.
You'd be correct.
Hold on. I hear Booster has got his own cover. Something about White Willy lesbians and planes.
That's right. Yeah, that's perfect.
That's right.
Yes.
White. Now I gotta tell you
I should have put White Willy. I think that wouldn't have gone past.
White Willy, like Willie Reed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Willie. The Willie Mammoth. I haven't seen him in the longest time. Tell him to get over here. Yeah. Of course, it could also be Willy, as in the peni, which the lesbians tend not to like. Although they do take their plastic ones and warm them in microwaves. I've heard.
Well, I got to tell you, Booster, and I just woke up. I'm not even dressed yet, which is why I won't come on camera.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I literally legit woke up, saw FanSpeak, and the first thing I hear when I click on it is talk of this cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got to say, Booster, it's your finest outing yet.
Oh, thank you.
I'm thrilled and honored you placed my little girl on your cover. Yeah. Locked in a tongue battle with Slick Jimmy's Sugar Lightspeed.
Pretty hot lesbo action, I gotta say, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Hot lesbo action, so hot. I threw it up on my Facebook. I, of course, pumped, promote Booster's book. No. Well, I'm on it. I gotta do it. And I gotta know though. I got some questions.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. What does Preston think of the cover?
He loves it. He took one look at it. And he just said, "Oh, golly gee willikers, I have to get this guy to recreate my whole book." He thought.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. He just kind of, when he saw it, he just kind of went, okay. I'm not sure exactly what he thinks.
Well, I mean, I guess he got his money, but like I was just curious if he was like, if he like did the whole, head slap and like, oh fuck, man, what's he, I mean, for forevermore, this is going to be part of comic book history, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
One of the things I want to do is like maybe arrange a trade with Booster or GOP, get one of these books somehow, because it's like $50 to have this thing sent to me. I looked into it.
Yeah.
But if I ever do get one, I'm going to send it to CGC. I'm going to have it immortalized.
Very nice.
And on the top of the CGC, it always has who the label, like the creators are, right? And you will have to be listed as cover artists.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you will be in comic book history, Booster, as a comic book artist, as a cover comic book artist.
Nice. I will be among the greats.
Among the greats.
Among the greats. Yeah. You'll have to be credited for this. And as far as Lesbians and Planes, the series goes, you are now part of that lexicon as well. Mm-hmm. You will, Booster, you're going to live forever, man.
Yeah. I'm like herpes.
Yes,
Kristen won't be able to get rid of me.
That's right.
I'm like the little bit of shame on.
Now we also have Thundero here, and on the cover, like I'm nitpicking the cover now, right? It says Thundero was right. I need to know what was Thundero right about.
This is just 2 years of pettiness building up.
Okay,
Booster, you know that's not the right answer. The right answer is everything.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, no, man. I think that's fantastic, dude. That this was able to be pulled off, because I was just assuming that Preston would take a look and go, no.
I mean, he got $500 out of it. I don't think he minds.
500 United States dollars is probably like $800 for us.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a good bit of money.
But Preston, I mean, people don't seem to get this about Preston. He is like pure sarcasm all the time. He probably thinks it's hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you are Larry.
I'm Larry, and I'm hilarious. I don't know if he would think it's hilarious. I mean, I don't talk to Preston or anything like that. I think it's hilarious. I think it's a goddamn riot. And
I think it's a masterpiece.
Dude, even the lettering for the logo was top notch.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what am I going to use other than Comic Sans?
I mean, here's the thing. I looked at that cover and I was like, damn, this is a comic book cover, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at it and said, damn, this is a comic book cover.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. My first thought when I saw it was, grade school certainly changed.
I need to know whose brainchild was this? Was this initially yours? GOP's
this is all GOP. This is all
GOP
his
just
fault.
One day in his infinite wisdom said, you know what? I think we need to have Booster Kiwi do some variant cover for White Willie.
This is his $500 he threw at this thing because he wanted to get a cover, and he thought it would just be hilarious if he got me.
So GOP threw $500 at it. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So GOP paid Preston to do this. Basically, it's like a license. It's like Booster's got a license to do a cover on Preston's book. And then with that license, they can take that and run it on Kickstarter. Now, I want to know, Booster, how well is your Kickstarter doing? Where are we at as far as backers, as far as funded? What's the latest numbers, sir?
It is at $273 out of 500 for 14
All right,
seconds.
so GOP's almost got half his money.
Right?
Almost. We still got a good 27 days to go, so hopefully we can get that creeping over.
Days to get this thing rocking. Now
we'll see. We weren't expecting to get hundreds of people wanting to come in.
Now, I imagine you'll make a couple of grand on it, actually.
Well, I hope so.
Let's not get crazy.
I mean, it'd be nice to see GOP get that back, and then you guys get this out there and get a couple extra bucks maybe somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who's going to be responsible for the printing and shipping? Is that on Preston's end, your guys' end? How does that work?
That's all Preston. That's all
Preston. All Preston. So Preston's got to ship it out no matter what.
Is
that
correct.
Right? Or what if you don't make the funding goal? What happens then?
Well, it's all been paid for anyway. This is just GOP getting his money back.
Right, but that's just paid for like the actual book itself, right? I'm talking about like this Preston now say got to shell out, $10 to $20 for every international backer that backs this thing.
No.
Like to ship it.
I don't. I don't know all these things. So why are you asking?
You need to know these things, man.
I don't need to know these things. This is all GMP. But I just drew the cover.
You guys need to have like a special on this book and have GOP in here because he obviously is the brainchild of this. He's like Booster's, manager. He's like Booster's agent. He's like the one
That's right,
calling the
need
shots.
We need GOP in here to hold my hand. I'm scared.
Oh God.
Yeah, are you scared?
Jesus Christ, you people.
So yeah, let's have a look. I'm gonna click on this myself here. Let's go over the details.
I got it up. I'm showing them right now, and it's my God, it's primitive. But Harder Ezra, very nice. Okay, Detective Booster. You should put some of the Weldon stuff up on here too, dude.
No. This is my art. We're showing off. We're showcasing my art.
Oh, that's
Your
fair.
art.
That's fair.
$370 Canadian. 14 backers. 27 days left to go. First created by GOP Gamer. He has backed 6 Kickstarters. That's GOP's record. Now for $10.
So, here you go, Larry. If
Yes,
if this doesn't fund, this Kickstarter doesn't fund, well, all 100 books just get sent to GOP.
Okay. That probably is what happens, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's look at this. For $10 or more, Booster Digital Commission. So this actually could be a popular one. Booster will draw the character of your choice, digital commission on MS Paint. Sounds like every one of these boosters is going to be a masterpiece.
Of course.
Now you have 3 backers here already for this. Booster, have these 3 backers spoken up and said what these masterpieces will be? Like, do you already have
Not
an
yet.
idea of some of the things you're drawing, and can you share with us?
Well, 2 of them are
not
here,
yet. I'm
so
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
They haven't told me.
I don't know, Thundera.
Okay.
What are you gonna make him do?
Just be his best self. That's
That's like perfect daddy stuff.
That's
That's
like the
nice.
ending of a nice romantic comedy.
Now, my question, Booster, with this is do they get like a digital copy of the comic book too, or is it just a drawing and that's it? Like
They just get one of my shitty drawings.
you just get one of your shitty drawings. All right.
Yeah.
I know what I want. I've decided. Are you ready?
What do you
You
want?
should write this down.
What do you want?
You should write this down.
Wait,
Yeah.
All right. Yep. I got my
I
notes
want
for that.
me in my bugbear form, wading into a mass of BLM protesters with a battle axe.
Damn.
How about that?
Mhm.
There you go. Now
So you
know.
want like an actual bugbear, or do you want like your
Well,
your
my
avatar thing?
my bear self, my icon self. Yeah.
Okay.
Even I feature on the cover.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Hey, Pickles. What's up, dude?
Hello.
Man, it's been forever since I talked to Pickles. What's going on, brother?
It's going all right. Yeah, it's been a while.
been a cup of coffee.
So
I actually just had one.
I invited Mr. Pickles in here because he also has a campaign going. Did you know? Could you believe it? Even
Well, I heard him and Shabby got something going on. Yeah.
What do they
It's
got going
true.
on?
I'm gonna put a link to it in the general chat. It's a little book called Vestry. Why don't you tell them all
Is that
about
on
it,
Indiegogo?
Pickles? Yeah,
It's Indiegogo. It's about an ex-veteran soldier who's been paid to clear out a castle in a mysterious island. It's very fantasy-based as well.
Well, this book's been in the works for a long time, right, Pickles? Like I remember, when I first kind of met you guys, and back in the off airs and stuff, you guys were hard at work on this at times, right?
Yeah, it's been. I think Shabby's been working on it for like a year.
Yeah, easily. Because I remember, him running pages by certain people in the group and getting art critiques and stuff. What's your role in this, Pickles? Well,
Basically, the one that Shabby ran by people privately, that was issue 0.
Okay.
That was done by Crypto and Slick Jimmy.
Right.
So basically, issue 1, I think Crypto was meant to do it, but due to creative differences, they kind of separated. So Shabby storyboarded issue 1, and I kind of filled in the gaps with dialogue and narration. And going on from there, I'm the writer, the sole writer. In fact, writes panel by panel, and I do the ashcans.
Now let me ask you this, because of the name threw me off for a second. Do you guys ever get confused with vestige because you're vestry?
I have had a message that said that people are mistaken between vestry and vestige.
Yeah, I figured something like that might happen. But, I'm looking at it here right now. Booster's got the link in the Discord. I only come to Discord for two people, you guys and Draw and Talk. And right now you're at 51 backers. That's impressive. 24 days left. You've raised in Canadian dollars now. Keep in mind, this won't mean squat to you, but 1,263 Canadian dollars, man. You have a 21-page story, 24 pages altogether. And all you need is funding to print, and I'm assuming to ship for $4 US digital version right there. I mean, can't get any cheaper than that for $6, man. This is the lowest price point I've ever seen on a comic book on Indiegogo. $6 for a physical copy, brothers. Let's see what the shipping is.
The shipping will be bad for international.
Right? Shipping is let's see here. If I click get this perk, let's see.
I don't mean to humble brag, but I backed it anyway, despite the shipping being enormous.
How much was the shipping? Because I can't
For me, about $25.
Yeah.
And Shabby was going, "This is ridiculous, Booster. You must refund. I give you book for free, my friend." And I was like, "No, Shabby, for you, Shabby. I will back this book in full." He's like,
"Well, look."
And then Shabby said, "Listen, I'm not finished my story, Larry." So Shabby says to me, "Booster, you are my best friend, my muse. I make this book for you." And I went, "No, you don't have to." And he's like, "Please, I must." Because he's very Russian.
He is.
That's full of half truths.
And
pretty much
no truth, I would
accurate.
kind of say. I am curious why you guys named it yours, though.
The what?
Vestry, yours.
That is because I basically created like a backstory to it all. I created the map. I've created more characters. So, and I basically did sort of backstories to Damon and other characters as well. And I've made the story progress. I've made a sort of mythology. So Shabby kind of agreed that we're kind of co-creators in it.
So you just
very
call it a pronoun. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Cassidy Blonde, the letterer.
Basically, Pickles is the Bill Finger of this thing. Yeah.
Cool. I guess you could call me the Bill Finger.
You don't have very many tiers. You got the digital, you got the ash can, you got the physical, you got another ash can, and then you have original artwork. So is that going to be like actual pages from the book and that sort of thing?
No, because it's all digital. So what Shabby did is he actually did a bunch of drawings of the characters and shipped them to Doug, which he also linked them as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask where this would be shipped from. If is this coming from Mother Russia or is this going to come out from somewhere else?
It's being shipped from America.
Smart.
So US backers, which is the majority of backers, they only have to pay like $5 shipping.
And probably $25 in Canada. This is why I trade the books now. Shipping's not cheap, boys and girls. It really isn't, especially if you're international. Whether you are shipping internationally or you're getting shipped internationally, it's a bitch. That's just the bottom line, the hard, cold truth of it all.
That's really strange that Canada has such high shipping, though. Is that a NAFTA thing?
Well, I don't know if it's a NAFTA thing, but I mean, bare minimum for me to send, like, say, you're down in Florida somewhere, and I want to send like just a floppy of Niobe to you, one floppy, right? Mm-hmm. Bare minimum for me to do that is $12.10 Canadian, which is about $10 US.
Wow.
If I'm shipping to say a Risey Lee, no relation to Niobe Lee, over in Australia, that's a bare minimum of $15 to get shipped by what they call surface shipping, which means it goes by boat. It takes 4 months to get to him, and that's if he's lucky.
Jeez.
If I pay $25
over the fucking fence, like it's American to Canada, right? You just
yeah. I should be able to wait by the border and they just toss it over, but
Yeah. Here you go, buddy. Is that how they...
Well, Rising ended up on your cover, by the way,
He did.
Pardon me?
He is on my cover.
and he is straddling a whiskey bottle. That's awesome.
Damn.
It's a beer bottle.
Okay,
A very big beer bottle.
is it?
Yeah.
I thought he was a whiskey man.
Nah, he's a beer man. And
Oh.
was it Goonback? That god awful cheap wine?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
You got a lot of people in the chat, including Pocket Jack's Comics, Preston Poetry himself. He says $6 is solid. Now, Preston, I want to know, Preston, since you're here, I want to know your honest opinion of the masterpiece for White Willie #4, Lesbians and Planes. Let us know down in the chatter box below. Pixel Traders here, by the way. He's got some awesome stickers coming out. One, a Doomed Rabbit. Man, dudes, you guys are a popular show right now. You guys got like 17 watching.
I love it. This is a Rebel Comics Live now.
It is, right? Yeah, it's all right. I'm going
Man,
with it.
it just happened.
right.
It just happened.
Here we
But
go.
Preston says, though, and I will say this, that he loves it.
He loves it. He loves
Yeah,
it.
I knew he would. Yeah.
This racist won't let me in the chat. Oh, Dillard wants in here as well. Fucking hell.
Yeah, Larry, you
Alright.
just go ahead and keep continuing. I got to do something. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Well,
All
let's
right.
see here.
Larry's in charge. I'm eating my dinner. Go ahead, Larry.
Right? Pixel Trader says America's hat should have been better shipping. Dillard is calling you guys racist.
We're very
Racist.
racist. We can't help it.
July 1st, international shipping goes up. Oh, but speaking of which, today's Canada Day for all you Canadians out there. I completely forgot. That it was Canada Day until I made a phone call to go order something. And it was like closed. So yeah. Let's see here. We have Devilish Boredom in the chat. Flying Saucer is here in the chat. So I want to make sure people get some shout outs here, because I one criticism I have on Chester is like whenever I'm watching the show, like it takes him like 20 minutes to get to a chat. You know what I mean?
That is true.
And I said something like 20 minutes ago and he'll read it eventually after like my hair's gone gray and shit. And he doesn't even know what the chat's about because he's so behind. You know what I mean?
I know.
Let's see
That's the problem.
here.
You got like 17 people watching, but there's also 17 people chatting.
Yeah. No, sometimes it can go fast, man. Sometimes it can go fast. We have El Rodimus Flash says, back it now. Dillard vapes, Canada sucks, and we all know it.
Oh shit!
Who's
Well,
Dillard
we
Vapes?
haven't lost the war. Let's
Some
put it
guys
that way.
harassing me because I just started. I'm trying to quit smoking, and I started vaping, and all of a sudden now they're making fun of me, and he has an alt account called Dillard Vapes.
Oh.
I
You
think
got
that's
yourself your own personal troll or what?
This is
follows me
harassment. Should we block him? You have a wrench. What are you doing?
Yeah, but I'm on live right now. I can't do two things, Booster.
You can end this whole man's career, Dillard, with a press of a button.
Now, John, what do you
Oh.
think of Booster's cover, White Willie for Lesbians and Planes?
5.
That's the one that looks like a bunch of planes flying around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
What?
I think it looks terrible, but I will back it.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
thank
go.
you.
That's nice. That's nice.
I spent weeks on this. I wish that wasn't true.
I don't believe you, Booster.
No, seriously, Booster, how long did it take you to crack it out?
Too long.
I can confirm.
There were my pickles actually. So there were times when I was just like sitting there, just screaming at the fucking screen, going, "I gotta get this fucking perspective right."
There's perspective in this cover?
There is. Look at
That-
Crypto's plane, and
That was kind of my reply.
Now, Erotimus is chastising me for some reason. He says, Chester is all about Chester. Chat be damned. Okay. He does. Maybe he wants me to talk about his July 1st international shipping goes up. Yeah, that's not shocking. I don't know. Or maybe he just wants to chastise me. It seems to be a national hobby around here.
just wants to bully you. That's all
fine.
it is.
That's fine. Yeah.
You probably
Chester,
deserve
we
it.
wouldn't bully you if you didn't deserve it.
That's fair.
Chester Booster was saying that you take too long to read the chat, and he got everybody against you.
You fucking knock.
No, that was me. Third blame Booster anyway.
And
I
the best
see.
part is he marked on the wrong guy.
I'm just a scapegoat now. What is this?
Well,
You also said you had a small wiener.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh! I know about his boom dick in the water story. I'm sure his penis is enormous.
That was not my fault. That was Dillard's fault.
It wasn't my fault. It's your toilet's fault.
Fine.
Are you blaming Dillard for having a big penis? What's happening?
That's kind of funny. Moving on.
Let's
moving on. We should actually do some news. Shall we do that? Let's do that.
Should we do some news?
I think we
let's do
should.
that.
Yes, and we come back and talk about all the great projects soon enough. So let me share this with these guys so they can see what's going on, and then I'm going to jump over and show these fine folks in 3D. So this is where we were, and let's go over where we're going to go. So here on FanSpeak, you guys know I like to talk about all things nerddom, right? And not just comic book stuff, which is kind of Monday. So one of the things I do like to kind of display every week here on FanSpeak is a new board game. And here's one I thought that was kind of interesting. It's making a lot of money. What's it up to now? $420,000. So this right here is called Role Player Adventures. As you can see, it's already close to 500,000. It's got 15 days to go. Now, what this is doing is this is coming out of the Role Player game line, and there's been a couple of them before. The first one was a lot of fun, and what it is it's taking the character creation process for D&D and turned it into a game. And it sounds dumb, but it's a lot of fun. Now, what they've done here is they've evolved themselves into the point that they've actually done something that has been tried so many times before and has failed miserably so many times before. But this looks like it might succeed. They've tried to take D&D and turn it into an 2-hour board game. I just going through and trying to find something to pick for today, I was like, this kind of looks cool. And of course, it's being very successful. And it's one of these games also that you can play solo, which is kind of a trend in board gaming, to be honest with you. But they have some visuals down here to show you how you do. They're using you guys ever read those books where it comes down to the bottom of the page, says you want to go left or right, and if you want to go right, go to page 240.
Well, yeah. Well, those were your
Been a very
first
long
real
time,
role-playing game books, is where you actually got to make a decision, and then your decision had its own outcome. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah. Well, they're using like that. They're using that system. So they got a gigantic book they're putting together, and they are trying to make it into a game where you could play solo or play with friends and actually do D&D. And I think it's cool. Like I said, I like to kind of introduce you guys to board game stuff. This is kind of cool little thing they have. You can put your stats together, and you can use the same cards. They have a bunch of characters they're putting together. The art's not bad, although one thing I've been thinking since I've been in this world over here on comic books is I would love to connect the two of you, because there are some amazing artists on certain projects, but overall the art's kind of lame. And taking you great artists that are over here and mixing you with the board games, I think that would be just an
like the new White Lily cover is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, maybe not. But we got some miniatures here. Very nice.
I like this comment from Pocket Jacks. In Traveler, you could die during character creation.
You could.
What?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
How does that happen?
I like this comment from Elrod. He said Dillard made Chester's penis bigger? Question mark.
Damn.
Let's not get into that.
Well, I remember like fantasy board games from back in the day. There used to be this little game called Talisman, if anyone remembers that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Talisman was
Talisman.
classic, man.
Talisman's great.
Talisman was the first one to kind of really do it right for fantasy sort of board gaming.
Yeah, no, that I agree. There was another one. It was like something Heroes Quest. That was a good one too. But now Talisman's still going strong, dude. They came out.
Well, Chester, you're pretty good with words. Some might even call you a wordsmith. Is there a way that you can? Because I'm not getting how this game, guys. To me, creating a character is kind of boring. How does this game actually work?
This game right here, what you're doing, this isn't like the one I mentioned first. Oh, hold on. Damn it. I'll be back in a second. Hold on a second.
It's a good explanation.
Pocket
Clears
Jacks
all up.
comics.
Got him. I got
Talisman
him.
was huge. Now, Pocket Jack's also referring to interior art in White Lily being top notch. Who was the interior artist there, Preston? Let us know in the chat. We'll give him a little bit of credit. Yeah, a little bit of credit. And while we're waiting for Chester John, what have you been up to lately, brother?
I've been working on the buckler. My God, I've been working on the buckler. It's so good. So
the buckler is like a spin-off character from the Canadian Shield from Mr. Rick Piper, right?
That is correct.
Now, how did Rick's campaign go? Do you know? Because I haven't kept up with it for a while there. You know, his Canadian Shield campaign.
Rick's campaign funded, and he is currently in fulfillment.
Damn. So it's like, you know, books being printed and being shipped. Is he at that stage yet, or is he still kind of waiting? Or
no, he's still arguing with the bank. He still hasn't gotten the money for the campaign.
Really? Okay. Damn, man.
Yeah, he's still in that process. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'll lend you the money and you pay me back, because it was not that much money to get this stuff printed out.
No,
he's like, no, I don't know. You know, it's what if I have to refund and then I'm in even more trouble because the bank's giving me issues. But you know, he's trying his hardest. We're on him every time he streams. He's getting it done.
Getting it done. Roger Heller says at Rebel Comics, what's good, bro? What is good, sir? Pocket Jack says the penciler is Jake Bilbao and inker is Yag Kumar. Colors is Blonde the colorist. Can you give me some easier names to say, Preston, next time? Okay.
Jake's pretty easy.
It looks like Jag. They should just, you know, I hate this whole European thing where they say the J's or the Y's. Just call yourself Jag, or just spell it right.
Okay. Thank you, Booster, for your international wisdom. Sorry about that.
I'm just saying they need to catch up.
But to answer,
I mean,
John's
don't you British people have dumb names like Chezzer and shit like that?
Hey.
Chezzer, like Chesney.
Oh God. Well, actually,
what a fucking clown show over there.
Right. But the way this game works, John, is pretty cool. You got a bunch of maps, which this has become quite popular with miniature stuff anyway. But you got a whole bunch of maps, so you can, and each storybook here, as you see, there's a bunch of those 12 storybooks. The storybook will be associated with a map. Some of them get reused, of course, and it's choose your own adventure type of setup. And of course, each page is a little more dynamic than the books we remembered, because in the books, you know, maybe some of them you'd actually would roll dice. This is taking that to an extreme, right? And so you have your character that you put together. They have a bunch of these sheets, and you can put them in these little sleeves here, and you can fill in all your information. You can choose which character you want from all the different ones they have, and you have stats. You go through a normal kind of well, it's a truncated version, but it's kind of creating your own character, and like you would in a role-playing game. And then what happens is, as you're playing the game, occasionally you'll come into a market, and they've thrown in a little bit of the deck building aspect of that, which has been quite popular in board gaming now. So it's really, you're playing D&D. It's just in a very controlled environment, so you don't have the free reign to choose whatever you want. You're kind of within the linear aspects of a storytelling situation, but I just think it might work well, especially because this company has proven themselves to be, really good and hardworking. So, does that answer the question?
Thoroughly, thank you.
No.
Shut up, Booster. Anyway, I just like to show you guys board games, and if you do like tabletop role playing and like like I said, you could play the solo. But if you want to play this with some of your friends,
from this nerd shit.
It's all nerd shit, Booster. What are you talking
about? Moving on. What was this right here? Oh yeah. This is kind of interesting. Go ahead, Booster.
Oh. Cyberpunk 2077 to face the censor's wrath in Japan. I see how it is. Japan's feeling a little petty. America keeps censoring their shit, so they're like, now we censor the European.
Yeah, well, no, actually, it has nothing to do with that. I put this article up because you guys have this idea that Japanese stuff is just all hentai and all weird sex and shit like that, and because it's not actually. Japan has very strict rules about showing genitalia, very strict. right? So this is nothing new. This is just simply the
What are
Japanese
they?
law. Well,
Yeah.
you
What
can't
are
show
they?
them.
Because all I ever see is Bob's.
Well, you can show Bob's all you want. You can see Bob's on
Titty's
TV.
all good.
Bob's are on
Okay,
TV. They're
so,
no problem.
so Bob's aren't
Genitalia,
considered genitalia. So you're talking exactly like what is between the legs strictly.
vaginas, and peni. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
even their hentai is censored. It's rubbish.
Well, because of the rules here in Japan. So what they're doing is they're just doing what they normally do. They're going to mosaic, or in this case, it looks like they're going to use underwear to cover all of the genitalia. The thing I thought was funny with this article was the fact that there's seemingly so much. I mean, I knew it was going to be adult, but damn, it sounds like they really went to town making this
Well,
almost like a pornographic game.
have you ever played Cyberpunk, the 2020 RPG?
I did, yeah,
I
absolutely.
love it. Listen. This game is right up my alley, man. I'm glad we're covering Cyberpunk 27. I'm buying this day one and streaming this day one. I cannot wait
Yeah.
to dive into a game where they offer the ability to customize your own genitalia.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Right?
I wanna
No,
have a
you
big
can
old-
customize your schlong, ladies and gentlemen, in this game. You may not see it on the billboard in Night City, but you can customize your schlong.
You can.
Can I be a white man?
I'm gonna
with a
have the
big,
smallest
old, swinging-
acorn.
Right?
Can I be a white man with a big swinging black dick?
Why not?
You probably could. I mean, the way that I understand it is going to be a
Nice.
lot of sort of creative freedom in this game. I haven't even watched the trailer. I've been trying to stay away from like gameplay trailers and stuff, but I keep up on the news just like this. So Chester, lay it on to us, brother.
With Cyberpunk,
With Cyberpunk and Japan's censor of wrath
right.
here.
Well, it's not actually a wrap. This is my point why I brought the article, because it's a misunderstanding. Of course, Japan is going to mosaic or censor genitalia. That's just what Japan always does. It's not what this article is seeming that Japan is stepping over bounds or something like that. They just don't get it. This is nothing new. This is nothing overt. This is automatic what happens when it comes into the country. So yeah, that's it. I just thought it was interesting to show that Japan is actually quite conservative with those kind of things, although they're not judgmental.
You've already cleared this up on 2 separate occasions.
I did
on this show.
I did.
And Claudio was saying that being forced to use the default schlong is exactly why he quit video games back in the day.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair, dude.
Well, here in the article it says all sexual content is being revised. So, I mean, there was sexual content obviously before. It's now revised. There will be no nudity in the game whatsoever, including depictions of genitals on either characters or in billboards and architecture. Any full new character will be sporting some brand new underwear. In addition, selective revisions are being made to scenes of gratuitous violence, such as the severing of limbs or spilling of useful internal organs. Gonna be gruesome, folks.
Well, yeah, no, that's cool. I'm looking forward to the game as much as you are. But what seems
as opposed
to me is,
to the useless internal organ.
That's right. That's right. But what I see going on here is two things. One, CD Projekt Red having to deal with the Japanese law when it comes to genitalia, but I also see them dealing with the Japanese law when it comes to blood and guts. So what Japan is probably telling them is you'll get a Z rating, the rating they use here for mature. And Cyberpunk has decided that no, well, they don't want a Z rating in Japan. They want it to be more open to the market, which I don't really think is a smart move. I think they didn't want to mosaic it, so they're changing it to underwear. So I get that. But they should have just went with a Z rating though. As far as
Well,
the
here's
rest
my
of it.
question. And maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but is this just in Japan? Like, are other versions in like of the game in other countries going to be different, or is it all going to be the same sort of blend here?
Well, I mean, that's one of the points of the article as well, is the fact that Australia, which is notoriously known as being very censor heavy, they let the thing through. So it's why did
Okay.
Australia let it through, who are usually very strict, and Japan didn't? Like I'm saying, the genitalia stuff in Japan is just automatic, got to happen. But the other stuff, it's because they didn't want a Z rating here, because they could have just put a Z rating on it, and they could have had all the organs, the spilling around all they want. So it's clearly decisions. It's a mix of Japanese law and CD Projekt Red choices. Is what's going on here.
I mean, I'm
But
kind of confused because if they got a problem with organs, then they must really love the Akira movie, right?
well, no, they don't have a problem with it. It's just it's going to get a Z rating.
But did
It's
Akira the
I
animated
got
movie
another
get a
more
Z rating?
important question.
it did. It did.
We know what an M rating is for mature. Why do they call it Z? Are they stupid?
They're Japanese, dude. It's just
They're just xenophobe.
Z extreme. Right? It's always they use it.
So
that
if I
way.
wanted to watch some Asian persuasion pornography and it doesn't have any kind of mosaic on it, I have to go to like Chinese. I can't go to Japanese.
That's right. Yeah, in Japan it's completely illegal. Yeah. But it's just the way the culture is. But no, Akira does have a Z rating. Absolutely, it
You
does.
see, I did not know that.
yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, there's one scene where like guts literally fall out of, like, you know what I mean? I think it's sewer or something. It just literally falls into his hands. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's that's one of the reasons why here in Japan most people don't even know about Akira. Because it was when it came out, it was only adults who could watch it, and it didn't carry over like it did in the West. In the West, Akira is like the legendary anime, right? Here in Japan, it's
sure, it's like the
what?
granddaddy of anime. Exactly. Yeah.
But the Japanese have no clue about it. And so I kind of get what CD Projekt Red is doing with it, but I think they should just took the Z rating. But I don't know. But maybe they were thinking, well, we have to censor the genitalia no matter what. So well, why don't we just make it something where we can get more people watching it? So
Well, if I was a Japanese,
Oh, so you're saying that if it got the Z rating, it would still have to censor the genitalia?
oh, always, yeah, that's automatic, yeah.
see, I'd be feeling ripped
wow.
off if I was a Japanese customer. You're playing a game where you can customize your genitalia, but hell, you can't even see it on your character.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
you can
Japan.
customize your pixels. It's great.
Yeah,
Slick Jimmy Love in the house. What's going on, James?
that's right.
Just hanging out.
So someone dropped out and Slick came in. Cool. But anyway, this is from Destructoid. I just thought it would be interesting to talk a little bit about because, as with Larry, I am equally excited about Cyberpunk 2077. I've been waiting for this thing for years, dude.
Well, I'll tell you this: like in the RPG, you can make what's called a rocker boy, right? And they're basically like revolutionaries. They revolt with their music, social causes, all that sort of stuff. I want to make Niobe in Cyberpunk and just like make a rocker boy completely and like give her a fuck ton of neon and shit. Like I can't wait, brother. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be fun, yeah. And the cool thing too for CD Projekt Red, we know how good they are. We know how conscientious they are about the industry. But this is the first time they have an IP that they can actually make it their own. Right, because with the Witcher stuff, they had to follow with the Witcher storylines, and they were restricted by that. But this, they're working with the creator of Cyberpunk, but it has never been put into a visual medium. It's a tabletop role playing game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing. I have a lot of faith in CD Projekt Red. So let's move on. That sounds fun.
Pixel Trader says his pixels are fine the way they are.
Yeah, don't touch his pixels. Yeah. But this is fun news, Booster.
I'm always about getting up in your pixels.
So I'm confused here.
Mhm.
So did CD Projekt Red self-censor it, or is Japan just going to censor it like they do everything else?
I think it's a mix. Well, from that article, what I'm feeling is that they had no choice but to censor the genitalia because you can't have that in Japan at all. And then the blood and guts stuff would get a Z rating. So I think I'm guessing, but I'm thinking what the decision that they made was, well, we got to get rid of the genitalia anyway. So why don't we just make it for a broader audience? Let's just do that. So I have a feeling that's what they did, and maybe it's a smart
Did they
move.
do the same for Witcher 3?
I don't think so, but then again, no one in Japan played Witcher. No one.
Well, the reason I'm asking you this is because my whole trepidation with CD Projekt Red is exactly that. What they just did for Japan, where they will start doing for the West because they're being told that the Western sensibilities are you can't have X, Y, and Z.
Well, that's a little bit of a worry, yeah. Because right now, obviously in the West, there's just so much going on. There's so much chaos, and everything seems to be quote unquote problematic. And so when you look at a game like Cyberpunk, you already had Anita Sarkeesian try to sink her little claws into it, and she got rejected, which is a good thing. CD Projekt Red does seem to be, they know the game they want to put out. They're trying their best to to work all the angles. Japan is a different beast altogether, obviously. But yeah, man, I really hope, like, just like you said, man, I hope they don't censor it any further, because the more you censor a game like this, the more you're actually taking away from its pretty much its core appeal.
Correct.
True.
Yeah, no, this game needs to be 100% hard R rated movie, like nasty, grungy cyberpunk. That's what it needs to be. And if they take the punk part out of the cyberpunk, then it's just a basically Fallout. Like, it's like a knockoff Fallout game, basically, is what it'll end up being. Well, so hopefully that's not what happens, and they keep to what they set out to do, was to make it as grungy and punkish as they can.
Yeah, but keep in mind, no one's going to play it here anyway. I mean, it's not going to have a market here at all. So I don't know.
You mean Japan? I thought you meant in this.
No,
in this Discord,
yeah, no, nobody's going to play that. Japanese don't play foreign games. What are you talking about?
What's the platform for this game?
It's going to be on PC, Stadia, Xbox, and the PlayStation. And here's my theory on it. I think the reason why the game has been delayed, because it was supposed to come out in September. Now it's November 19th. I think that is pretty much when we're going to see the drop of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, no.
I think it's going to be for both of them, really, Xbox and PlayStation 5.
Well, because this is a crossover, right? This can be played on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
But it'd be great to use it as like almost like a launch to, like, here's our new console, and then CD Projekt Red goes, yeah, and here's our new game. You know what I mean?
Right. That's cool. Yeah, maybe that's why they delayed it. Maybe it wasn't a
well,
CD
they also
Projekt Red
plan to offer free upgrades too. So if you buy it for the PS4 or whatever, you can get the PS5 version. You just download it on your PS5 for free.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's cool. But I mean, like, for instance, here in Japan, we just had an example of The Last of Us 2, right? The Last of Us 2 came out. Some people in Japan did buy it. It's a very small percentage, but some did, and they automatically turned around and tried to sell it, like, within days, because it sucked so bad. And the commentary going here in Japan on Last of Us 2 is them, all these influencers, I guess is the word they use, here in Japan, are saying, don't buy that shit. So, but it is a small market here for Western games. There's a lot of games that come out in Japan that never come out in the West, right? They cater to.
What's it like to live in an adult country with adults running the country?
I don't know.
Well, come to Canada, we'll let you know.
Yeah, Trudeau. Really? Yeah, Trudeau's a real adult. He looks like he's 25 and he's like 42.
Well, I'll tell you this: we got our corona under control. We're not having 17 states in an outbreak because people refuse to listen to proper guidelines. Like,
that's not why that's happening.
But then again, the death rate hasn't gone up at all.
Trust me on this. You don't want to have this debate with me. My wife's a frontline worker. That's not why this is happening. The reason why these states are in quote unquote an outbreak is because literally they admit everybody for corona. If they had put you in the hospital for anything, corona, bam. You know why? Because our government's retarded, and they decided that any COVID patient, they're going to cover most of the bill, and they get a huge fat check from the federal government for every COVID patient they treat.
They do. It's a problem. But it would have been much easier, Thundera, if you just said Canada sucks.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
well, I'll tell you this. There's a reason why we haven't opened our borders to the States yet, and probably won't for a long time.
Well, I hope you'd never open them again. Just keep them closed.
Yeah, keep them snow Mexicans up there.
Get out of here. What? I never heard that before. But
snow
anyway.
Mexicans. Yeah, that's a new one.
Snow Mexicans. But usually the traffic's going the other way, Thundera. But anyway. Let's move on, though. I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk myself. Here in Japan, I think they miss out on some fun stuff that comes from the West simply because they're biased, but it is what it is, right?
It's funny. You say the Japanese won't play it, and in the background, I see all these signs in Japanese.
No, those are Chinese.
Those are Chinese symbols? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just made a racist assumption. Larry, do better. Do better.
Do better.
See? I would never make an
You need to learn the difference between all these fucking scribbles.
Shut up. Nah, for you guys, when you see some kind of Asian character, it just automatically make assumption. But the reason why this is Chinese and not Japanese is because every one of these is a kanji. Every one of these is a character. With Japanese, this would be mixed with their hiragana or katakana, which is more like an alphabet. right?
Yeah,
How old is
that clarifies
Chester?
it for me. Thank you.
You're a linguist. How old is Japanese as a language?
Japanese as a language, I mean, unto itself.
Yeah.
Ooh, geez, that's a rough one. I would say that during the Yayoi Jidai, there was such a huge influx of Chinese. Before that, there was obviously a language that was more unique to them.
hmm
But ooh, 1,500 years maybe?
So that's longer than English.
Yeah.
So I guess they win, Booster. Ours is the squibbles, not theirs.
It's not the easiest question to answer,
Mhm.
you understand, right?
I'm aware.
There's still scribbles. All right, just get out of here with that, Fandara.
Yeah. But anyway, don't get me on a history rant. You know what'll happen. You know what will happen. All right, here we go.
Yeah, well,
This
I don't.
recorded.
I don't hate
Toby, come on, talk
history.
history. Come on.
So, Jim, I swear to God, I'll kick you.
I want to hear the nitty gritty. I do.
Pixel.
I want to hear the granularness of history.
I got a question for Jimmy before we get to Atari. Jimmy, you saw Booster's cover, right?
I saw it.
What do you think
the
about
art
our
list,
characters tongue wrestling? What do you think of that, Jim?
Yeah.
I think the two mouth snakes going at it is an interesting prospect.
Okay.
Did it give you a little old man chub?
Oh, jeez.
With
No,
your
no,
rendering, it's a toss up.
Damn.
Okay, can we
knew it.
please get into Atari Booster?
Atari VCS confirms launch title and release details.
Now, they're remaking Missile Command. Is what they're going to be launching with. Now, I'm very excited about this personally. Now, I grew up with the Atari, however. I have fond memories of playing with my cousins and stuff like that. So I've been waiting for this, 3 years? From the first time they showed this? I think it's been 3 years. So I'm going to buy this thing. Even if it sucks, I don't care. I'm buying it for the nostalgia. But any of you guys have any fond Atari memories?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I'm a child of the '80s. I was 6 years old when we first got our Atari. The very first game I ever played in my life, I think, was either a toss up between Pac-Man or Asteroids. you know.
Yeah. Those are great, man.
But the Atari caused a lot of brother fights between me and my brother, especially in games where like combat, where you like play those tanks and you would shoot each other and knock each other off the screen.
Right. Well, another game I loved was Joust. I hope they come out with that. 'Cause
Joust
I
was
didn't.
great, bro.
It was, man, and I didn't know what direction Atari was going to go with this, bringing out their own game console again. I didn't know where they just going to try to do new stuff, get in on the thing where they bring in all these hot titles and stuff, which they might do that as well. But it looks like they're going to be keeping that classic feel and as well. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and
Well, it says here the flagship game is going to be Missile Command, which was a great game back in the day.
Mhm.
Recharge with don't scroll up too much because I won't be able to read it. Go back down, brother. All right. Yeah, see, I'm watching it on YouTube. I can't see it on the Discord. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, you just click on it, but that's all right.
Click on what? Watch stream?
Yep.
Like I've never done this before. There we go. So yeah, Missile Command is going to be the launch title. Now, what I'm curious about is what other titles are going to be with this system and how this all works. Like, are these going to be games you can buy in a physical sense, or is it going to be all digital download? What's the interface going to be like? How does this machine stand up to say to an Xbox or a PlayStation 4? When will it be available? How much is it going to be? Like, I have tons of questions about this.
Well, I think they're going more of the mobile route than the PlayStation route. I don't know 100% yes, but they are certainly using Linux, which is a good thing. But I think they're mainly going more of a mobile type of gaming system than they are with what the PlayStation is. But they're also bringing back some of their classics and putting them into a higher end look, remaking them and stuff like that. But it has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 4K graphics, just to name a few of the services. So I don't know. I don't know. It only has the original title ran on 128 bytes of RAM. Jesus Christ! But I'm not sure is 100% what they'll do. It sounds like it's got great capabilities, but at the same time, it is an OS-based system. So I don't know, you know. But then again, the mobile stuff we're seeing is some pretty badass stuff. And if they take that mobile idea and they create games that can be used with a console where you're sitting down with a controller and stuff, I think they could do quite a bit because mobile games do kind of get themselves stuck into a certain type of game. But I think that's changing because the technology's there, right?
Well, you look at the console, it looks very small, like in compared to like the size of the controllers, right? You have like that sort of like classic joystick there with the one button, and then you kind of have like this very bad looking Walmart knockoff of an Xbox controller, right?
Yeah.
But you can see that this thing is going to be able to pretty much fit in your hand. Now it's saying down below that it's going to be able to play the old classic Atari games as well, but I don't see anywhere where you would put the cartridge in. So I guess you would have to buy those and.
No, I think it's all digital, yeah. And Pixel makes an interesting comment here in the chat. I bet you could embed a Raspberry Pi into an old Atari joystick and run Atari games on your TV. I bet you could. And I think this is following very similar thinking. Now, is this going to be a Raspberry Pi type of thing? No, I think it's more advanced than that. But I think it's somewhere between that kind of emulator that Pixel is talking about and the full-on console. I feel it's.
Well, I was going to say this almost feels like an emulator in some ways, but except we're going to have like remakes of some classic games. I wonder, like, did they list any other games that will be like on launch, or is Missile Command sort of like the only announcement?
That's the only one I know of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens with it. I think it's cool. Even if it is just an emulator, I'm still going to buy it. Because it is coming from Atari and they're playing on nostalgia, so the build of the quality should be pretty good, right? And I don't have an emulator, so maybe it'll be useful in that way. We'll see. I'm just going to follow it because, like I said, it was like 3 years ago they introduced it at E3, I think. I've been waiting, and this is the first thing I saw, and I was like, ooh, let's talk about that.
We have Todd Maroney in the chat. Of course, I got to talk with him and Mike Barron about Florida Man, currently funding right now in Indiegogo.
Yeah, now how are they doing? What's that number up to?
I haven't checked it recently, but they're doing great. Mike was a great guest, great guy. You should get him on the show, Chester, and have we talk about a legend who's done it all in the comic book industry. He was fantastic.
Oh no, we've had Mike on here several times. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Yeah. Okay.
I need to. Yeah. I need to go into Reddit and get myself banned. Shit.
Yeah, you should.
So Todd is saying it's at $20,000 right now, $20,000.
That's what I.
Yeah, no, Claudio's right. People have done that with NES controllers. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I feel like they were struggling to get to like 20% until they got banned from Reddit.
No, that ban from Reddit was probably the best thing that ever happened to them, brother.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go on Reddit. I'm just gonna say all sorts of awful shit, and then
right,
I got banned.
Well, Reddit just shut down a whole bunch of accounts, didn't they? I mean, they just shut down.
They just shut them down for no good reason.
Right?
Yeah.
Twitch
There's been a purge sort of happening everywhere. When Donald Trump can get suspended from Twitter, that means that's the red light, the green light for all these other social platforms to go, you know what? We can just do whatever the hell we want now. So YouTube's been on a purge, Reddit's been on a purge, Twitter's been on a purge, Twitch has certainly been on a purge. They've all been purging.
Yeah, I hope they feel
better.
Do you
know how much of an advantage it would be if Donald Trump just went to a more conservative controlled version of
but like Parler or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, if he went to a more conservative controlled version of Twitter, I feel like it'd be much more advantageous.
Yeah, but I don't know. Trump is he's in hover mode right now. His strategy is let them eat themselves, which I get the strategy. I do get the strategy. There's a lot of logic behind it, but there's also a point in that tactic and that strategy where you need to know when to strike, though, right?
Yes.
And I'm kind of wondering because we've had crazy stuff. Like, is Slick still in here?
I am.
Yeah. Well, let me jump over to that real quick then, since we're talking about it. Is it these guys? No. Where was it? No. Where was it? No. Here it is. These two idiots, right here.
Yes. These two idiots.
Talk about it, brother.
Well, this is in my valley. There's two towns right next to each other. I live in one north called Orem, and Provo is the town where I work. Mm-hmm. So there's about 250,000 people altogether in the area, and the Antifa decided to descend, and they call themselves BLM, but they're just more Marxists. Their arms are the same octopus.
Yeah, sure.
And they shot up our town. There was a southbound vehicle of SUV that was trying to cross through the intersection of Center Street and University Avenue, which is right next to the county seat. And they were having their little protests, and I don't care about that. But there is right there. There's a whole park, a big green, and then across the street there's the greens in front of the courthouse. All that is set aside for this sort of crap. But no, they have to get in the streets, and they have to impede traffic in their quote unquote civil disobedience, and mob cars that want to move forward just to do their daily life and get where they're going. And when this happened, a man slowly started to move forward, trying to turn left off of University onto Center Street. And some guy pulled a gun. This guy you can see right here, this asshole right here. This, what's his name? Jesse Taggart. I want him and this bitch, whoever this is. I want them to be seen and known. All right. I want the people to see these people. People are going to. You want to dox them? Yes. I want these people known for the rest of their life for the terrorist assholes that they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my town. This is the place that I live and I grew up in, and I don't want these fucks in my freaking town.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of Americans are feeling that way, Jimmy. I mean,
So when they move forward slowly, this guy pulls out a gun and pops through the window and hits a 60-year-old man. And he could have killed him, but he got to the hospital. They took care of him. He freaking fired a gun as somebody moved forward slowly, trying to get these dickheads out of the way so they could just go on about the thing. And then you get these other fuckers get on there and talk about them, saying that, they were trying to kill him with the car. There's video of it. No, they weren't. They were trying to move slowly forward, and these dickheads are impeding it. They're in the street, which is not for people to go out there and protest. This is not how you do it. That is not peaceably assembling.
No, it's not.
Well, I think the idea of peacefully assembling in the United States...
Peaceably assembling is in the United States, boy. You're in Canada. This is our land.
Come on.
But I'm telling you,
he's
man,
actually trying to defend you.
You guys are on verge of civil war, dude, and that's inevitable. It's gonna happen.
Well, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and we'll take care of it.
Yeah. Well, I like to see it start because everything you guys do has a trickle effect on us.
That's true.
And right now we have left.
Well, strengthen your boards. That's all I got to say, because I don't want you guys going into lockdown mode and crazy shit. If that goes down here, I want you guys to stay okay. I really don't want Canada or Mexico to have the same conflagration. But if it does happen here because of these freaking Marxists who have infected our country, I'm mad. I am mad as I am so upset. And I'm not trying to be like incendiary, but this is where I live. I can't do anything about Seattle. I can't do anything about California. I can't do anything about Chicago or Detroit or New York, but this is where I live.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, Slick, is I'm curious because I'm outside the country too, right? How many Americans are feeling just as incensed as you are? That's my curious. That's my.
I don't know.
Quandary.
I wish there were more. I wish there were more people that stand up who are right-leaning, centrist, and good left-leaning people. Because there are good left-leaning people that are liberal. Liberal is not a bad word. It's probably there's a stink on it because people use it as a cover. I'm talking about progressives, socialist, communists.
Well, I think the reason why people are scared to stand up is you look at something that happened in St. Louis, right? When the couple came out in the front yard with their guns saying, "Get the hell off our property," and now they're the ones that are being investigated and possibly charged.
Oh,
that tells you that you have a problem.
Well, it's because of the attorney general there, who's a leftist piece of shit.
Yeah, no, but
it seems like if you do anything but lay down and die, you're going to offend them.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. But the thing is, with St. Louis, I'm glad you mentioned that, Larry, because that situation, it doesn't matter what that DA does. She is a left-leaning, she's a political animal. That's without question true. But it doesn't matter what she does because they are safe. They will be protected without question. But
I hope so, because if it doesn't, it sends a message to the rest of the country. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I think they want that message to be said. Yeah.
Thankfully, they live in a mostly free state, one of the best states in the country as far as freedom goes, especially when it comes to firearms freedom. Anybody who comes there, I'm pretty sure they're Castle Doctrine, but I know they're a stand your ground state, meaning you don't have to retreat If you feel threatened and you have a firearm, they could have fired, and they would have been justified.
Yeah,
under
no,
the
they
law.
do have castle doctrine. Yeah, their lawyer said that there's no problem. But
Yeah.
Pixel said, I was pissed off last night going through the video trying to identify another dude that looked like he had a gun too. There was a guy. When the car went away and was going down the road, there was another guy pointing a gun. He didn't fire it though. So yeah, you're right. These activists are starting to carry weapons. We're seeing it. We saw their little Chaz thing, and we're up to 5 or 6 shootings now, right?
At least,
Yeah,
well,
the mayor finally sent the police in to shut that down after they showed up to her house.
There
Yeah,
was
but see-
more stuff that went on that night in Provo, or, up the street, north up the street, 500 north, by the old Brigham Academy, which has turned into a library. They did the same thing, impeded traffic. People were jumping on cars. This same dickhead, this asshole right here, smashed somebody's window open with his gun. And he kept doing it, and there were people they kept doing it. These aren't, I don't know what they are, if they're Black Lives Matter or Antifa, doesn't really matter to me, but this is black bloc tactics. This is what they're doing.
Yeah,
and I don't want to have it. And I am livid about the fact that our mayor Kafusi, just a lady, told the police to stand down. This is why this stuff happened, because there was no police presence.
Yeah,
they weren't doing their job.
There's no reason to stand down at all. Yeah, they should be tough. It's
Todd
like
says, I'm not even in the chat or not even on the show, and I'm getting yelled at. How does this keep happening to me?
well, it's because of who you are, Todd. That's what it is.
Todd, if you want to side with the Antifa, go ahead.
Yeah, he doesn't, dude. This is kind of crazy, this stuff that keeps going on, and I'm just waiting to when it pops, because I was going to save this to the end of the show, but we'll end with something happy on the other side here.
Happy ending, yay!
Yay! What is going on though is a full court press by the communists. They pulled their trigger and they're going for it. Now, I don't know if they went too early or maybe they went at perfect time, because so far what we're seeing is no pushback, right? But I know there is a pushback that is millions strong. So I'm kind of wondering when that pushback is going to happen, because it keeps escalating.
You and everyone else.
Yeah.
It seems like when someone does push back, they often get vilified, and that's the problem.
What we need is millions of people to march on Washington and tell them to know we don't want you to be a state. We want you to be what you were designed to be. And come in there and flood the streets to the point, and not to burn down anything, just to tell Congress this is what's going to happen.
Can we burn down the Federal Reserve though?
We could. Let's do that.
That might
let's
have
do
been
that. Yeah. But no, the whole Washington D.C. thing is because they want two senators. That's what it is.
Yeah,
they want two more, Democratic senators, and no, go for, if you want to go for something, go for Puerto Rico. We've given them a whole bunch of opportunities to be a state. Give them another one. See if you can get it.
Why would we want Puerto Rico? We don't need that.
I don't want a Puerto Rico either. I'd rather have American Samoa.
Yeah, no, I'd take
American Samoa.
Let's have American Samoa. Yeah, they're pretty cool, man. I like American Samoa, but Puerto Rico is just
I like Samoans.
Yeah,
Samoans are pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like Samoa Joe. He's a pretty good wrestler.
Samoa Joe seems like the type of dude you could just hang out with and just be fine.
Yeah. Have some beers with, good time.
What's up, bro? Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, so yeah, well, we'll keep talking about this until something changes, I guess. But we all saw this video, and this was outrageous.
I apologize to the listener. I apologize for getting riled up at this.
Nah, Jim,
this is rankling me hard.
Real time history. This is stuff that's happening right where you live. I don't blame you for being a little heated, brother.
Not at all. Yeah.
It's kind of bizarre, isn't it, what's going on?
Yeah, well, it's pretty awful, really.
I think as somebody who hasn't called for civil war, but separation from the right and the left can't live together anymore. It's pretty obvious. I think people need to just be careful in asking for a pushback, because if the right does push back with any modicum of violence, they're going to have to go all the way, because if they don't, they're going to be hanged.
That's true. That is true.
When conservative-leaning people push, they don't just push. They push and they destroy. That is what they do. That's what they've always done. You can look all throughout history. More conservative people, whatever that means at the time, are generally speaking very tolerant of idiots. We don't like them, but we allow them to exist, and we just chill. But if we decide that's enough, we go all the way. That's what happened in World War II. I'm not talking about the Nazis. I'm talking about America. America wanted to stay out of it. We're like, nah, nope, it's not our problem. It's not our fight. And then Japan got stupid and decided to attack Pearl Harbor. Now, some historians say they were probably justified because of our policy on their oil and stuff. I don't really care. They killed like 4,000 Americans, 3,000 Americans. That's what I care about. And that's what every American cared about. To the fact that my grandfather, who was in World War II, told me that he remembers the day after, and over 1 million men volunteered for the armed services in this country when that happened. That was a more conservative time. Those were more conservative people. America was a more conservative place. Because when you push people who actually understand the logistics of violence, like right-wing people do, which is why they're generally speaking against it, unlike the left, who is constantly beating drums of some sort of grievance to cause trouble. When you understand that the reason they do that is not weakness, it's knowledge, it's wisdom. Because there comes a point when you can't talk to them anymore, can't rationalize with them, you can't even drive down the road without them trying to interfere with your life.
Right.
At that point, there's no time for arguments anymore. The time for arguments is over. There's only one thing that comes after arguments, and that's arms. And there's only one side in this country who has more of them than pretty much every military combined on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
It won't be pretty. So I want to push back, but I want people to understand what they're asking for. And when it starts, and I think it will within the next year, maybe even before the end of this year, I don't want to hear people complain that they're going too far.
Oh, they will.
Because this is what you asked for.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't want to. I'm just saying, it's coming, and when it does, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, that's a sad thing, though. But yeah, no, America has over 300 million legal firearms.
Yes, and I bet we have probably 100 million illegal ones.
Probably.
Like, ones that the feds don't know about. We have lots of them.
Yeah. But, there's another comment here from Roger. He says, I saw a news report that my governor might cancel 4th of July in my state of California. Well, the Democrats are across the board going to be canceling 4th of July. We saw in Washington, D.C., the mayor there said that they, or governor, wherever they call it, it says you should stay home on the 4th of July. But yet, she's also at the same time promoting protest on the day. So I think a lot of Democratic states are going to try to do this, and people need to go out anyway.
I'll tell you this. In Canada, today is our 4th of July. Like July 1st is what's called Canada Day. And normally we would have big, huge parties and fireworks and barbecues and lots of drinking. And I can pretty much tell you across the country, none of that is happening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You got a Marxist, premier. I mean,
no, but I agree with it. I mean, if we're going to have 2,000 people congregate in like a large field to party and then you get a bunch of people sick, what good has that really done? You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. But Americans are kind of like flipping the finger at the COVID, to be honest with you. But smart or not smart, and now we're going to get into that conversation, but Americans are kind of fed up with it. And it's the protests are which caused it, because everything was going just fine before it. But nevertheless, this is what I want to talk about. Booster!
Yes.
Read.
Independence Day events.
Continue.
Governor Kristi Noem announced the South Dakota's Mount Rushmore Fireworks Celebration 2020 lottery held through Recreation Government to go live June 5, 2020 at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. The lottery will close June 8 at 9:59 p.m. Mountain Time. Visitors wishing to attend the July free fireworks celebration at Mount Rushmore National Memorial will be required to obtain tickets in advance through the online lottery. To enter the lottery, go to the recreation.gov website.
Thank you very much, Booster. Thank you. Now,
is that before or after they crush Mount Rushmore?
Well, it probably after, I'm sure. But now, first of all, I know exactly why Trump is doing this. I get it. I know, I get the point. But for me, when I saw this and been here listening to them go on about it, I'm asking, why haven't we done this every damn year? It's the perfect place to have a fireworks show that you televise.
Yeah, I mean, do it alongside maybe like when they do a run to Sturgis or something like that. Change the Sturgis run to run,
Maybe, yeah.
July 4th, and then have this
I
big
think that's a
celebration.
brilliant
That would be
idea.
That's a
freaking
great
awesome.
idea, dude. Yeah, I like
As
that.
many bikers are veterans and patriots, even
Yeah.
if some of them are just straight outlaws, they still, generally speaking, love their country. I just would love to see Antifa show up to that event. That would just be, it'd be like Christmas in July, is what that
Well,
would be.
what town was it here recently, the past month or so, that they were activists that were saying they were going to come and do something to some statue, and the bikers for Trump said that they were going to be there. They were expecting like 1,000 of them, like 5,000 bikers showed up. Where was that? What town was that?
Oh,
I don't
I
know,
know
but you
there
need
was-
more of that to happen. I'm surprised that a lot of like the bikers just didn't come down to Seattle and just take over Chaz.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they were
I saw
planning
a
to.
video of Crips chasing off these BLM idiots and Antifa, the Crips in like Long Beach. I'm like,
Well-
the Crips are out there having more sense than these idiots.
yeah.
Well, dude, go
Yeah, they've
listen to the
actually
black
lived hard
people.
lives, a
Actually,
lot of them.
yeah, go listen to the black people. They can't stand Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They can't stand it.
No.
This is not a
They'll
black
say they
thing,
do.
dude.
They say they do on polls and in public and stuff, but if you actually talk to them, like, no, this is stupid.
It
They
is
know
stupid.
for a fact it's not going to cause anything but more trouble for black people. That's what it's going to cause.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just obvious. Like, okay, you get rid of the police or you defund them and make take down their pay grades and things. You think you're going to get good people are going to go do that job?
No.
No. Why would I go risk my life for 30 grand a year?
Yep.
You can stick that right up your ass. That ain't
well,
happening.
the reason to bring that up in Canada, in Toronto, there's this little cafe that is all about Black Lives Matter and Antifa and stuff, and abolish the police. Not even defund the police. They have a sign outside the little sandwich shop that says "abolish the police." So we have this media outlet called Rebel Media, Rebel News, and they're basically like a conservative media that asks the hard questions. So they go in there and they say, if you abolish the police and I pull out a gun and I try and rob your store, who are you going to call? You know what they said? We'll call upon the community. Yeah, we'll call upon community members to deal with you. So basically, basically their answer is we're just going to take the laws into our own hands and sacrifice civilians to deal with our issues.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we've tried. We kind of evolved away from that. That's why we have police. But anyway.
Yeah.
But is
that's
Pickles still
one
in
last
here?
thing, real quick. I don't know. Is he?
Is who still in here?
Pickles.
Pickles.
I don't know.
Probably bored the poor guy to death.
Oh, we
Pickles is
did.
here, yeah.
Oh, well,
Let's
that's
see.
bad. Yeah.
So,
Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
he's gone. No, he's there. My
No,
Pickles,
Pickles.
is there.
Now, Pickles, you're over in European land, and we've seen that this thing, which was an American event, has spread all over the European land. Why?
Because people in my country seem to think that our police system's racist,
Mhm.
which it's not. I think they're just using it as an excuse to leave lockdown and using their frustration. That's what I put it down to. But now it's
I think
infected
I
sports
think a lot of
games
people
where
are
they
just
all
using it to
kneel
make some
and
noise. You know, a lot of bored people feel like they need to support a cause and they don't know what to do with their lives. So any little thing that comes up, you know, they'll raise the fist in the air and go marching off blindly without even knowing any facts or any research. And we're seeing it spread throughout the world like a pandemic or disease that's even worse than COVID. You know.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I'm just curious because this was an American thing, but the whole Western world just decided to get involved, and it's like, why? Why do I see so many non-American countries constantly talking about America? It's like, what does it have to do
Well,
with you? And
You know, in
I'm
Canada,
talking
they
to
blame the
Pickles.
RCMP.
Talking to
Talk-
Pickles.
talk-
Knock it off. Now, Pickles, I saw that the Scottish Parliament spent an entire day talking about how racist and horribly evil the white people of Scotland are, and how many white people are in charge of everything. White, 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 white. They were going on. They said it like 1,000 times, and it was funny, I guess. But why would they say that when 98% of Scotland is white? Curious.
I don't really know, because if anything, Scottish people should know about oppression because
Yeah,
because of the
right.
British Empire.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Thank you
just
very
weird.
much.
How bad?
Well, no,
Well,
the Scots, the Welsh, the Irish, they've been under the frickin' thumb of those goddamn Anglo-Saxons for a long time.
We literally made them sing our anthem, which had the verse "Rebellious Scots the Crush," and we banned the kilt because they liked it.
Aren't all of the British Isles almost like 95% white? Like all of them, both of them, all three of them, I guess. The Isle of Man and Ireland and Britain, they're all like white, 95%. There's a little bit of, people coming over here, but what are they talking about? I mean,
I can explain it for you scientifically. It's a new thing that's actually being studied right now. They don't call it this, but this is what it is. It's ethnomasochism. These people literally get off in some way, whether sexually or intellectually or emotionally, from tearing down their own people. Whether that's white people or Scottish people or American people or whatever people you want to call it, for some reason, something in them is so weirdly broken that that's how they express it, so where they tear down their own stuff.
So maybe we should just institutionalize all of them.
Well, that's like where most of them were before we got rid of our assignment.
I mean, where you see her being carried off by all the slaves and peasants because she freed them. So, she's putting herself on a pedestal while putting the others down. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. That's exactly how they see themselves. It's just white saviorism intellectualized into their own psyche. That's all
I guess it is. Yeah, it's weird though. It's really weird that so many Europeans have an opinion about American politics. It's just, what does it have to do with them? I don't get it. But as far as Daenerys goes, I don't know that.
Understand, to be honest. It does all come back to us in one way or another.
Well, there's this new trend both in South America, Mesoamerica. I don't know if it's in Canada or not, but and in Europe, to we're America, like United States citizens are not Americans. They're part of the American, the Americas. Even though nobody calls themselves Americans but us. But I mean, I don't know. Did you be up there in Canada, and Larry, do you call yourself Canadian American? God, no.
God, no. Well,
I've never met a Mexican that goes, "Yes, I'm an American." Okay, but you're Mexican, right? Yeah, but I'm American. I've had several of them say that. I'm like, no, you're not. You're Mexican, right? You live in Mesoamerica. Okay, whatever. But they get it. They're trying to do this. They're trying to co-opt it because they're jealous. They're jealous of the success of the country, and they think that we're arrogant. Maybe we are, but I mean, these are the type of things that are happening, and things like Viva la Raza. That shit happens. There's the curriculum down in schools. They teach down in Mexico. You'd be surprised the shit that they teach down there.
Oh, Mexico, in their constitution, they have a literal ethno-nationalist clause in there that no one is allowed to do anything to change the ethnicity of the country. So if you're perceived as doing that, whatever you're agitating for, you can be arrested and charged federally in Mexico.
Well, they say that all the Western states were stolen from them. A lot of them are taught that now.
Yeah.
Look, if you were to try to pull this shit in Hong Kong right now, you get locked up for life with the new law.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in Hong Kong.
No. But that sort of stuff is coming. That sort of military police state is coming because it's either got to be that or you're going to have these left wing mob justice rules. I mean, at some point in time, the hammer has to come down.
Correct.
Well, I mean, and there's I guess a move in Britain to let in 3 million people from Hong Kong. I mean, immigration is a pretty big deal over in Britain right now, but I certainly would rather have a lot of hard-working people from Hong Kong, Chinese, than some other ethnicities.
Middle Easterns, yeah.
I say we just trade the population of California. Sorry, Pixel, but you got to go, buddy. With Japan, just switch them, and I think everybody would be happier.
Less earthquakes. That would be nice.
Yeah. Justin could come home. He could be in America again.
I could, yeah. But let me throw a little wrench in the works here, just because you meant talking about America and what do you call it? Refer to yourself. Now, why do we call America America?
United States of America?
No, why do we use the word America?
Well, the continent itself is America. So, like when you look at like Canada and the U.S., that is North America, right? And Mexico.
No. Well, North America is from the Darien Gap up. That's North America. No matter what we call Mesoamerica.
Why are you guys answering him? He wants to make a point.
Yeah,
he wants to talk.
You don't ask a question and not expect an answer.
Well, because you're not answering the actual question.
It's what he does.
Why was it named America?
Amerigo Vespucci?
Now, that's the answer that everyone comes up with. But here's the thing. All across the Americas, the various Indian tribes had a name for the land, right? And although they have slightly different pronunciations, it comes down to they called it America long before the Europeans came. And you know what that means? Go ahead, we should say what?
Complaining bastards?
No,
Yeah.
it
Are we
means
allowed to answer
land.
that question now, or we get interrupted?
Yeah,
again?
you are. No, don't interrupt. It means land of the wise serpent. So here's the thing: is America named after the Native Americans' name for it, or is it named
We're
after
named
Amerigo
after-
Vespucci?
Are we named after Quetzalcoatl? Is that what you're saying?
That is
The-
in essence,
the-
yes. Yeah.
Largely, the real answer that he's getting at is because the natives that were living here adopted it to call it that. The Mexicans, as we call them now, adopted that to call it that. People chose this themselves. It wasn't like America was just like, you know what? No, we own it. You can't take it from us, or we'll fight. That never happened. It was just how things evolved
Fight
Yeah,
you,
the-
bro.
over
No,
time.
I'm telling you that it was called that before the Europeans even came.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the people who were the Aztecs. Basically, they didn't call it Mexico, but they called it whatever they called it in their language. It basically just meant Azteca. And the Indians that were all over had different names for their area, but they called the land that we translated into America what you're saying, whatever it was, different. They had different languages for it, but it's just a direct translation. I'm agreeing with you. The
Yeah, but
people in the other regions didn't do that, and that's why we kept the name. Because
So
why
crazy
wouldn't
to
we?
me that
Right,
you
but
guys still
where
I
does
mean,
the
what's-
Amerigo Vespucci thing come from?
Was America? I mean, what does America? Is America from like the tip of Patagonia to like Baffin Island?
No, we'll talk about the North American stretch here. We're not talking about Central or South America. But
Yeah.
I've always thought that was curious. Anyway, Booster, read this new article.
Time magazine declares superheroes a problem because they star straight white men.
Time magazine declared.
Yeah, I saw this article the other day. I read the whole thing. It's a far left fluff piece because here's the thing: we're at a time
Here
where we
is
have a
the
lot of
thing.
these Me Too allegations going on, especially in comic books and in wrestling and all these other sorts of forms of entertainment. And I was saying to a friend of mine the other day live, I said, if you look at all the targets of these Me Too allegations, they're all white, cis, straight men. Every single one of them. Sean Gordon Murphy, Jason Latour, Warren Ellis. The list goes on and on and on. I don't see any black creators being implicated. I don't see any trans creators being implicated in anything. So there's definitely a war against straight, white, cis men in comic books, not just as creators, but even as characters. And it's they're really trying to push this out. It's really something.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
They've pretty much just completely dropped the mask that that's not what it's about anymore. If you actually go to like lefty Twitter, lefty YouTube, or whatever, and watch or listen to what they say, they pretty much just say, "Yeah, we're going to enslave white men or kill them." That's
Pretty
what we're
much.
after. Yeah.
But it's interesting to me in this article, she's trying to compare the superhero to a police, when of course the superhero in most ways is either a vigilante or a person who is legalized or an accepted vigilante. They are not police. Now, there's a few who work with the police for sure, but in general, superheroes are not police and they're not associated with police, right? Peter Parker, Spider-Man, of course, being a perfect example of such a thing. Batman being another one, working with Commissioner Gordon, which this person mentions right here. But Batman is the Dark Knight. He is a vigilante that Gordon sees as a necessity. He is not a cop.
Batman, though, definitely is about the law, not necessarily about the police, but about the law. Batman's whole thing is about the law,
Sure, but that doesn't make him a cop, right?
No,
I'm
but
all
what they're
about the
trying to
law,
say
and
is
I'm
that
not a
these guys are
policeman.
like cops who operate without impunity. Basically, they're glorified cops who do what they want, how they want, when they want. Is the argument they're trying to make here.
Yeah, they are, and of course the problem is it's a very one-sided argument, of course, because there are many comic books where the superhero actually takes out the bad cop or the bad government person or what have you.
I'll listen to their condemnation of symbolistic heroes like superheroes when they condemn Antifa. Because what are they doing? They're doing the exact same thing. They're just doing it for evil, in my opinion. Superheroes are generally trying to do the right thing. They're trying to use the power they've been given, which is funny that they go on and on and on about people in power need to do more. Well, these people were powerful They're trying to use it to make the world a better place. That's all they're doing. That's what Batman's doing. Now he has his own personal grudge, but it's also that at the end of the day. That's what Superman's doing. That's what all of them are doing. The notion, this is why it's so important to have this continuously restated, with great power comes great responsibility, is the perfect motto for superheroes, period. That's what they are. They've been given great power, so they must take that as a responsibility and use it to better the world. Supervillains are given great power, and they take it to oppress the world or harm the world or take from the world. Until they're willing to call out actual, literal evil organizations or organizations that just take the law into their own hands, I don't want to hear their lecturing about superheroes. They can save it.
Yeah. Well, and they also mentioned here, Thundero, where they're talking about where those cops were had the Punisher badge on their uniforms, and they were like, "It's a horrible thing," and it's like, "Nah, you know, it's just cool. It's just cool."
Yes, correct.
Most people do things because it's cool.
The other thing, and I think Chester was trying to get at this, is Batman absolutely is a law enforcer, but he's an enforcer not of code law. He's an enforcer of actual natural human law, which is, don't hurt other people, don't kill, don't steal. Just a basic common law that pretty much all of Western civilization and most of the rest of the world as well now, thanks to Western civilization, is based off of. And that's what he was out trying to do. Stop crime. Stop bad guys.
Justice, baby.
Yeah, the very basic concept of justice is if somebody hurts somebody, you stop them from hurting anybody else. It's that simple. And to try and they try and twist that into, see, they're just glorified police officers. That's not what police officers do. Police officers have to follow very, very specific rules. And if they don't, they often get in trouble. They don't always, and they should get in trouble a lot more, but they still often do get in trouble. The people pretend like they never do, and that's just not true. It's just untrue. It's an untrue statement. I've studied this thing for a decade. Sometimes they do. I think the standards should be higher, but I also think their other things around them should be higher too. They should make more money. They should be better trained. All that stuff. But the idea that superheroes are just some kind of fantasy version of a cop is so ridiculous on its face. Superheroes are very simple. The very idea of them is they're just our modern day mythologies. That's all they are.
Yep.
They're just Hercules in a new form, right? They're super strong and children of the gods or science, as you would call it today. Or in Superman's case, quite literally an alien from another planet of a godlike race. It's just preposterous. It's ridiculous. They clearly don't even understand the very concept or need for why superheroes even became popular. It's because the old versions of these mythologies were boring and stale for children. Like they just didn't click with them. But if you turned it around and put them in a nice bright suit in their modern city and they're doing cool things, they got laser beams coming out of their eyes, well, that's pretty cool. Kids gravitate to it. That's all it is. That's why it works.
And it does work well. But I love that meme I saw. They took out one of those animated films where Diana, Wonder Woman, is looking at Superman because an alien is chattering on, and she looks at him.
Did you see the clip for that?
Yeah. It's funny. And he says, "What? Because I'm an alien, I understand all alien language. Do better, Diana." It was
and
funny.
Then she rolled her eyes. That's the funniest part about it, though.
Yeah.
That's from the Harley Quinn show. That one.
It's just funny though.
Yeah, it's in the Harley Quinn show.
Yeah, it was actually pretty. That show is way better than it deserves to be. I gotta say.
Dude, I love the show.
Now, I thought it was gonna be hot garbage, but it was way funnier than I thought it would be.
Well, it's dark comedy, is what it is. But
no.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question. In this, of course, now they're praising Black Panther, of course, because it's Wakanda. But BIPOC, what is this? Black Indigenous People of Color.
Black Indigenous Persons of Color.
People. Persons. You can't be.
Persons of color.
One of my favorite George Carlin bits is when he talks about words, right? And the politically correct way we start using words, right? We start making words longer and more flowery to sound like how we went from shell shock to post-traumatic stress disorder, More words, more syllables, just sounds nice. And they're always changing it. And now we have so many words and syllables in these freaking terms that now we need... oh my god, I can't believe I forgot the word when you get a bunch of letters to make up a bunch of words. I'm so retarded.
Yeah, no argument. Continue.
Do you mean like... Well, a good example of it would be...
an acronym?
would be the LGBTQ blah 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 whatever however long it is this week. That's a fantastic example. That's not even a word. It's just letters. And they just keep adding to it instead of just saying. We used to just say gay people, and they pretty much just covered the gambit of
this
everybody.
This right here is called an initialism, Booster.
We had words for it before before gay people. Well, we're not allowed to say it anymore.
That's a bad word.
It's called an initialism. So there you go.
Oh, thank you, Chester.
You're welcome.
For helping this ignorant weak you.
Chester, I'm going to give you some more bad news. Okay, you ready for this?
No, sure.
I can't. I just blanked on which one it is, but one of the U.S. dictionaries have officially changed the definition of racism to the left's ridiculous, retarded definition they've been pushing for a decade.
Chalk.
No, that's not acceptable at all.
Was that Webster's?
I can't remember if it was Webster's. I'd have to look at this.
Fuck Webster's then.
They've been long garbage.
But yeah, I just thought the linguist would appreciate that.
Now, I have to say about this, language gets abused all the time. But I do, one thing I found about interesting about this article from Trent, I suggest you go read it, this is one of the longest articles I've ever seen him write. And I think he got ticked off. I think he's pissed. Because he really goes at this.
What do you think it was that got his panties in a bunch?
The absolute tunnel vision of this Dockertman here, and picking on superheroes. I mean, obviously Trent is bounding in the comics. He loves superheroes, and but he goes. You should read this article. He goes in on it hard, and he's right. This Doctorman lady. She doesn't care about superheroes. She doesn't know anything about them. She's just trying to tear something down as what seems to be the only thing they like to do. But have a read at it.
Well, my question is let's say all these people got their way. What would the world actually look like then? Like, what is the end game here?
Yep.
Like, wipe out Whitey? Like, well, what are we talking about?
Well, now people have asked this question, and they don't have an answer.
It's because they're emotional children.
I think they want a role reversal.
Yeah.
Like, they want white people as slaves.
Correct.
Oh, really?
Or dead.
Now, how is
they want South Africa worldwide? That's what they want. And largely, the white people down there have effectively been enslaved. They're the minority, yet they have to pay for basically everything.
Yeah, no, that's true. And Devilish Boardman says they want segregation back. Dude, we've seen them do this. They are actually segregating themselves again. And I made this mention before. I lived in the South a couple of times because my dad, I had to move around a lot. And the thing I noticed in the South was of course, there's racism. I mean, more so than I had felt in the North, but it was agreed upon segregation. The blacks did their thing, the whites did their thing, and never the twain to mix, right? So it's I've seen it myself in my life, but it looks like that's what they want overall. So it's okay if you have segregation. Well, then that's just a choice, right? It doesn't need to be actual, set in stone. You can choose to segregate yourself if you'd like. Go right ahead.
Well, yeah, but you can't do it professionally at all. You can't do it academically. You can't do it even politically. You can do it in your life, at least for now, but you're not allowed to even explicitly state that that's what you're doing, no matter what race you are. If somebody could bring a complaint against you, you get all kinds of trouble for it, which I think is ridiculous. I think the right of disassociation is just as powerful as the right of association.
Sure.
And we should re-enshrine that into law. So if people don't want to associate with somebody, why are you trying to make them? Who wins in that argument there? The person who now has to associate with a person they don't like for whatever reason, they don't like them, or the person who now has to associate with the person who doesn't like them? Who's winning there? Nobody's winning. That's a loss for everybody.
Yeah, it is. And Elroman's Flash says Neo-Puritans. It's very interesting take on it, dude, because they yell and scream about women's rights and the male gaze and all these kind of things they go on and on and on about. But yet they're also the most lewd, loose, sluttish things you've ever seen. So it's like, pick a frickin' lane. I mean, I don't get it.
I never know with these people.
They just want control. That's all it is.
But they haven't educated themselves. They're not smart enough to be in charge. But let's switch gears slightly by staying on the same topic and talk about how the left loves to eat themselves. Go ahead, Booster.
They do.
Oh, what am I looking? Justice League actor Ray Fisher accuses Joss Whedon of abuse.
Josh Whedon, another white cis straight male, correct?
Funny.
Who has been accused
Well-
of things in the naughty, non-lefty things in the past. He's a
think
bad
Josh was
lefty.
Jew.
Like I'm just saying, I still haven't
He
seen any
was a bad
people of color
husband.
or trans get accused of this stuff. Again, another white cis straight male.
Joss Whedon's. Oh, do I need
Yeah,
a
please
black
read
man
it. Yes,
voice.
please read it. Yeah.
Oh God.
Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, and, in my opinion, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. He was enabled in many ways by Jeff Jones and John Berg. Accountability, entertainment.
Okay, now read it like
Was that
Monster.
supposed to be Alabama? What the hell?
What, you don't like that? You don't like my?
I don't think-
That's
Booster,
black man
you've
voice.
never actually met a black person, have you?
I know you haven't. Yeah, they don't talk like that at all.
I met plenty of brothers.
But okay, so all right, so he's
Did you say brothers?
Brothers.
Brothers. Oh no. But Joss Whedon is tough on set. Okay, I get it. All right. But the funny thing is, as it continues, they get an opinion in here from his ex-wife. Let's see if this Instagram post has any value whatsoever. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay.
I want to know what abuse was happening. Did he like flick their wieners and scream, "Dance my puppets"? What's going on?
Anything that someone does that you don't like these days is now considered abuse. That's
Yes.
just how it is.
Abuse and oppression. You're oppressing them because they're uncomfortable. What?
But look at what his ex-wife says. Whedon's ex-wife, Kay Cole, penned an opinion piece in The Wrap describing Whedon as a hypocrite preaching feminist ideals. Now, we know Whedon is always going on about the freaking feminism, right? But his ex-wife seems to think he's just a hypocrite. Now, is this a truthful statement or is this just an angry ex-wife?
Could be a little bit of both. I think a lot of people on the left or claim to be on the left say it just so they don't become the next target. And then maybe some of them kind of half even believe what they say, but their actions or would prove otherwise. Who would know Josh Whedon more than someone that was actually married to him? But again, we can only take this woman at her word. We have until pictures come out, video comes out, more testimony. Who really knows? I mean, all we got was he was abusive. Well, abusive how? What did he say? What did he do?
I mean, he
Give us
released Justice
something.
League. That was pretty abusive.
It was
I
abusive,
got
dude.
you there.
Yeah, but let's see here. Cole claimed that
That's very
after their
abusive.
marriage ended, Whedon confessed to her that he used his position on Buffy the Vampire Slayer to have numerous affairs. Did he? In one communique, he wrote, "When I was running Buffy, I was surrounded by beautiful, needy, aggressive young women." Almost like a beautiful, needy, and aggressive. All right. It felt like I had a
awesome.
disease, like something from a Greek myth. Suddenly, I'm a powerful producer, and the world is laid out at my feet, and I can't touch it. Scandalous indeed. Did he touch that?
This
I
does sound
wonder.
like what a lefty would say, though.
What if he
I
touched
mean,
that? I'm kind of curious.
I would.
I
Yeah.
would touch that. Yeah, hell yeah. I'd
Yeah,
touch that.
I'd
I wouldn't
probably-
watch it
I'd
because
fall
it's
for it. I'd
useless,
get in
but
trouble.
I'd touch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never watched this stupid show. It's so dumb. She was the most
Yeah.
unbelievable thing. Even though she was super powered, I still didn't believe she could, break a paper out of a paper bag. Just this pathetically weak character that you're trying to tell me is the most badass vampire killer of all time. Now it's
She's a
interesting
strong
how
woman.
she's saying what Whedon admitted to her. Now, why would he even be talking to his ex-wife?
Well, let's see
brag
here.
about
She
how
didn't
many
detail
women he
that she
shags. I
did
don't know.
indeed touch it. She wrote, Josh admitted that for the next decade and a half, he had multiple affairs and a number of inappropriate emotional ones that he had with his actresses, co-workers, and fans and friends. I wonder what actresses he had affairs with. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Probably like she was probably saying some horrible ex-wife shit, and he'd be like, "You know what? You wouldn't believe the pussy I was getting."
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, "I live two lives." It's a confessional from Josh Whedon. But
It's so dramatic.
Look, if I can have an affair with Scarlett Johansson, I fucking be on it, and I would own that shit. Yeah, I banged her. Like,
yeah, no, that's the thing. She is trying to express an idea that a man would happily admit. It's just once again women not understanding the psychology of a man, right? So whatever.
Yeah, but Joss Whedon was raised by a woman and raised to be feminist, so he wouldn't be a typical man that would brag about things like that.
Is he gay?
Yeah.
Maybe he's in denial.
He's probably just cognitively feminine. And a male that's cognitively feminine is usually a predator. Hence why so many of these allies end up being predators.
Well, they're trying to change the human nature. I mean, we have to be able to reproduce. What we can't flirt with a girl, we can't hit on a girl, we can't sleep with a girl anymore. It's basically they want like men to become sterile.
You can't sniff their underwear.
Or, yeah, you can't do nothing, Booster, man. You know what I'm saying here, and it's just ridiculous. Bro. And how far does this rabbit hole go? And like this slippery slope is really dangerous here right now.
Yes, slippery slope. Anyway, we don't have that trouble in Japan whatsoever. Women still like it when men hit on them.
Do we have any information as to how Joss Whedon was abusive to these people, or has he not said anything? Has he just said, he was mean on set?
I don't know. Yeah,
it was like, a good director is probably quite forceful. That's probably how
they tried to do the
same
thing to Christopher Nolan, and the complaint that they said on Christopher Nolan was that he wouldn't allow chairs on set. Because if you were sitting, you weren't working, was the theory. And so now they're trying to say he was abusive in that regard.
Yeah,
again, another straight white male, just saying.
I'm just saying, nice directors don't get good results. Lazy, if you want to get a good movie going, right, as a director, you got to be forceful. You got to get these people to do their damn job.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way with leaders, Booster.
Yeah.
For instance, I love Governor Huckabee, right? Governor Huckabee is a very nice human. He's a nice guy. And he ran for president several times. He would have been a horrible president. He's way too nice. You need an absolute asshole that's going to run your country. And we got one. It's perfect. Anyway, so did I have anything to end this show on? Interestingly, Crisis Remaster has been pushed back. That's too bad.
Oh no.
Which I like that game. Did you play a game, Booster?
The next, I played a bit of it. I wasn't too into it, but the graphics for its time were stunning. Right?
They
came out on PC. Yeah. And I wonder if they're going to make that jump again. Is this going to be the next PC stress test game?
Well, they're remastering it. Like I said, it got pushed back. But here's some of the things they're looking to improve. It has a new engine. They're using the Warhead engine instead of the what is it called? The something Frost engine they had before. They've removed 2 boring areas. I love that comment. They've removed 2 boring areas.
We got rid of the boring shit. You're welcome.
Yeah, they fixed the landscape. They added animals. The newly added animals are rabbits, cows, cats, rats, herbivore, lizard, dinosaurs, etc., etc. Removed DX9 render. Oh, that's good. Fixed AK models and sounds. New shaders, optimizations, fixed spawning issues, and new models. So it sounds like they've really done a lot. That's a lot of work to do to an old game. I don't know if you guys know Crisis or even care, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. My son and I played it together, and we had a lot of fun. So I've been looking forward to it, but unfortunately, it has been pushed back. So
it looks kind of cool. I never played it.
Yeah, no, I liked it. It's an interesting take, especially the bow. You can run around this really cool bow, and it's one of the better bow games, I thought. But I did have some other video game stuff to just kind of look at, see what we want to talk about. But we have run our time out. So let me come back over to the other side. Now.
Yeah, Booster, good job. You ran out all the time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Booster.
I'm sorry.
But this is FanSpeak, and we're here to talk about all the things that are going on in our world, and that includes the craziness that's going on in America. And someone did mention Hong Kong offhand, and it's really unfortunate because of all the craziness, people have been not starting with the COVID-19. People have not been paying attention to Hong Kong, and we lost Hong Kong because of it.
Yeah, what is going on over there, Chester?
Well, so I haven't seen anything. What they did was just the other night, it was a couple nights ago, the Chinese have introduced their security laws in Hong Kong now. So basically mainland China can now come in. They can arrest people for dissension, for going against the grain. You can get life in prison just by, aiding or advocating dissension on the streets. If you write free Hong Kong on a sign and you go out and protest that, that's life in prison for you, sir.
Yeah. They're basically shutting down any kind of dissent is what they're trying to do. The problem is there are millions. I'm not exaggerating at all. Millions of Hong Kongers that are sick of it, and I don't think they're going to stop. So what you're going to see is the military, not the police, the military is going to come in and just starting cracking down. Now the good thing about it, well, it's not a good thing, but the more positive thing about it is China is not Russia, right? Because Russia, they do not care what you see on the TV. They could give a shit what you think. They'll roll tanks in on your ass and just roll right over you. They don't care. The Chinese do care about the outward image of China. So this is probably going to be more covert than you would expect. I imagine, but I don't think the Hong Kongers are going to sit down for it. So they might force the hand of China, and you might see some actual slaughter happen. But it's
I think
disgusting.
well, 2 people have already been arrested underneath this new act, and protests have already started up again in Hong Kong.
Sure,
So I think
sure.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, no,
I have one last thing to say. I saw a thing that said that certain countries don't like America, a certain percentage, and I guess in under the Trump administration, things have gone downhill, I guess, on polls. And one of them said that like Russia, like they were like the second largest dislike of people in Russia. Now I do have an in with people with a person in Russia, and a couple of other artists I use over there, and they don't seem to hate us as far as I can tell. They're rolling their eyes at us because of what they know about what went before, and how they run their country is how they run their country. They always like a strong man as opposed to milk toast. Um, but there's one of those things I wonder about all these polls saying things. I don't know if I can trust any hard data anymore.
well,
It just seems like everybody has their bias.
well, I can't answer the question for you. You have 2 factors playing in. One, all you have to remember after World War II, America rebuilt the planet. No one ever talks about it. We never get any credit for it, but
I
we
agree.
rebuilt this planet. And that put in a certain sense of jealousy, particularly from the Europeans who've always looked down on us. They still do. And so you have a little bit of that in play. So people kind of always will kind of laugh or mock or roll their eyes at America, although they do treat Americans pretty well. So you have this thing that's kind of just always in the mix. But another thing that's happening that I don't think people understand, I've heard many Westerners say, "Why is CNN still on the air? They're not making any money. They have hardly any viewers." Well, what you don't understand about CNN is they are international, and they own a lot of stuff, and they not even just owning straight out. Sometimes they just own part of stuff. They own a lot of newspapers and TV channels all around the world. Therefore, they are influencing with people around the world's opinion. This is something that people don't understand about CNN. I give you Japan as a perfect example. Japanese TV and newspapers, CNN has a great, a sizable ownership of all of it, right? So you don't understand how rich and powerful CNN really is. You see the American numbers
Well,
and you
CNN is
misunderstand
owned
it.
by AOL Time Warner merger. I mean, that deal all went down a long time ago. I
Yes,
mean,
yes, yes.
it's not even CNN that runs these things. It's
No, it's
AOL and
not.
Time Warner.
But they understand CNN when I'm talking about it. Yeah. But so the thing is, here in Japan, every day on the news, as well as in Brazil and Thailand and Germany and everywhere else, every bit of news you see every day is Trump is the most evil, horrible thing in the world. Americans hate Trump. He has no support. He's this dictator. That's the news constantly. And of course, none of that is actually true. But that is what's being fed to the world on a daily basis, right? When I sit in my adult classes, I try not to talk about politics very much because, it's politics. But occasionally it does come up because they have questions. They ask me. And I'm constantly trying to correct them and letting them know this is not the reality. This is not what it is. Your news lies. And they're like, really? I said, yes, all news lies. As far as the international opinion, you have this kind of just long running jealousy of America, and you also have this media control around the world. So yeah, most foreigners have a rather negative opinion, and we have a couple foreigners in here. Pickles left, unfortunately, but we do have a Canadian and a New Zealander in here. Why don't you two tell us what your media seems to think of us?
Our
We all think you're
media,
dickheads.
our media, can fall into like three different realms. We have like CTV, we have the CBC, and then we kind of have like this rogue media called Rebel Media. And so, depending on which one you're watching, will depend on the dictation of America. Generally speaking, like let's say this was 15, 20 years ago, most Canadians kind of thought, and this is just generalized, I can't say all Canadians, but a lot of Canadians would look at Americans as being very arrogant and full of themselves, right? Like
Sure.
the leaders of the free world sort of thing. When they were like, hey, we're here too, and Britain's here too, and then you would try and explain something to an American, and the American just wouldn't listen to you because they always had this sort of philosophy that we're right, you're wrong, and that's carried over for many years, in Canada when we look at Americans, and then we look and see, chaos in the streets. We see chaos in the way that COVID's being handled, the way that protests are being handled. And we see a country that, quite honestly, is in a big mess right now.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing about this, the irony, Larry, is the fact that for a long time our presidents did see themselves as the police of the world and the globalist push, right? For a long, long time.
Mhm.
And here you have a president in America who's trying to end that. He's trying to say, America, we need to take care of ourselves. We don't need to be the world's police. We don't have to be the great savior of the whole world. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's make ourselves successful. So you actually have a president who is not carrying on that arrogant idea, but yet he's hated. Right?
Yeah, and I think he's just hated because he's Donald Trump, though. I don't think it has nothing really to do with politics. I mean, if you had any other Republican politician in there, he'd be hated, but not to the level that, reality TV star, real estate mogul Donald Trump is. It's just him and his name alone. And that started the minute he got elected,
Man, maybe. What about you, New Zealand? What does your TV news say on a daily basis?
I don't watch TV.
Oh, God.
Why would I watch TV news? It's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's true. It is
He's
true.
busy humping his wife with pillow.
Well, that's
Exactly.
true. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, perfect timing. We have 2 minutes till the top of the hour, so we're definitely going to end it up. And interesting conversation today. We did talk about some nerd stuff, but we talked a lot of politics. But that is the world today, I guess. You can't get away from it. But Booster, closing statements. And you know what? I want Pickles to give us our namaste today. Pickles,
Oh.
you have to give us some words of wisdom to end the show on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If it smells good, eat it.
Oh, no, wait, hold on. We're going to end with you. Just hold on. Booster,
Give
go
us some
ahead.
Manchester sauce.
Back my cover. I want money.
Okay. Rock on.
If you back it for $10 more, if you back the normal tier for $10 more, I can draw you an absolute piece of shit in MS Paint, and
There you
I
go.
get more money if you do that.
Mhm.
If
I
you
did.
pay it for like I think about $80 or odd dollars, it'll even get graded. You
There
have your
you go.
very own, very rare booster variant cover, graded and everything.
They'll
And
grate
when
it like
Yeah.
cheese. They'll grate it over like your spaghetti. Awesome.
Graded.
Very nice. Thank you very much,
actual
Booster.
anus.
Roger Heller says, I just wanted to say
Give me
love
money.
everyone here from the host to the chat. May everyone continue to have a spectacular week ahead. Stay blessed and always stay safe. God bless America and happy 4th of July. Roger Heller is such a sweet guy. He's
Amen.
always got nice things to
That's
say. Very nice, dude.
He's a lovely boy.
He is. Larry.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you something. I'm just waiting for comic books to come in to ship to Indiegogo backers. That should be in a couple of weeks. We have a web store, gumroad.com, Niobe Comics, where you can pick up some of the stuff I have left over. And then come towards the end of summer, man, Niobe Birthright #2 comes out, and we got covers by Matt Weldon, R.B. White, Steph Wilson, Samir Sameo, Paul Green. The list goes on. We're talking with Randy Green from Witchblade fame to do something. We have Luigi Terrell from Rags who did a couple of covers for us. Sky's the limit for Niobe. Follow me on Rebel Gaming, XXX on YouTube and on Twitch.
Sweet. But do you have a booster cover?
Yeah, my character is on a booster cover.
That's
Well,
true. That's true.
So
With
get
the
Booster's
hot
cover
lesbian-
for the
actually.
coolest Niobe appearance, Tongue Wrestling with Slick Jimmy's own Little Girl
Mhm,
Lethal, Sugar Light Speed.
Hot Lesbo action.
Yes.
And they
Hot
are the
lesbian
lesbians in
action.
the planes.
That outcome is a foregone
You-
It's
conclusion.
true. It is true. It is true. All right. Thank you, Larry. Slick.
You can find me on Slick Jimmy Love on Twitter, Slick Jimmy Speaks on YouTube's, if you want to go check out my book, which is still in demand, you can do that. We're getting the nitty-gritty done on the lettering, finally. And, yeah, there you go. Thanks.
Sweet. All right. Thundero, sir.
This weekend, really all of the world should celebrate it, in my opinion, but that's their business. One of the most important days in the history of the world is memorialized with July the 4th, the signing of the Declaration of Independence. It's a big day for America, in my opinion. I think you're going to see. I think we're gonna know after July 4th which way this country's going to end up going. There's a lot of people who are afraid of this country heading towards civil war or towards, one side dominating the other because the other side won't stop being nonsense. I'm not afraid of any of it. I get a little bit upset sometimes when I see good people kneeling to Marxists, but then I remember that this is not over. That we always knew, people on my side always knew these people would come first. They'd start first. So July 4th, if you're an American and you're listening to this, I encourage you, I plead with you, get out and have fun. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you want to wear gloves and put on a bodysuit, sweet. Get one that looks like an American flag. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do to make yourself feel safe. If you're really afraid of this virus that only kills octogenarians by and large, that's fine. I won't take that from you. You're allowed to have your fear. But you also should have an appreciation of the people, men, women, and children of all races who came before you, who helped make the whole world better by making America great. That's what July 4th is for. It's not because America's perfect or because America hasn't done bad things. We've done a lot of them. We've also done a whole hell of a lot of good. Celebrate all of it. Remember all of it, because all of it made you.
Yeah,
make me want
well
to sing the
said.
battle hymn of the Republic.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing there, Slick. But now of course the July 4th is talking more about the Declaration of Independence. But when we bring in our Constitution, it's an interesting thing, Thundero. You do realize that all the most of the countries of the free world, when they went to a democratic system, what Constitution did they copy? Which one? Was it the British one? Oh no, it wasn't. Which one? It was the American one.
It was ours, yes, but we copied a lot of it. Not copied it, but was inspired a lot by, like, the Magna Carta and things.
It was. That's fair enough. But very nice. Very good. All right. Well, thank you all for coming in. Do keep in mind that tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we do have the Drawn and Quartered Ultimate Edition, where we will be doing Cyberpunk awesomeness. Looking forward to that. But we are going to end the show today with our brother across the pond. My pickles.
Me. Well, back vestry if you can, but it's bad times right now, so you just gotta love each other.
That's just good advice.
Namaste.
Go back vestry. Go get it.
Yeah, go back vestry. All right, guys. Namaste. Thank you very much, and we will check you out later. So, bye.
Cheerio.
Allah.
Peace.
Hasta la fuego, baby.
This is FanSpeak, a weekly live show where the fans of comics and its community are our guests.